Hey folks, my name's Ed Trevors. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I'm an Anglican priest serving in the beautiful parish of St. Margaret of Scotland that sits on the ancestral and on the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Gwe. Again, forgive me for the delay on this, but COVID is rotten. Anyway, a week ago, I found a speech that was offered by a Missouri Democrat by the name of Ian Mackey. Now, this speech was offered in a debate against an anti-trans bill. And Representative Mackey, he speaks well. He speaks eloquently, he speaks lovingly, he speaks of his own experience, he speaks about how this bill and bills like it, which we are seeing all over the place come forward, how these bills are so damaging, so hurtful. But there was something in his speech, and I will include a link to the speech in the comments, but there's something to this speech that really grabbed me and has required me to think on and as I figured out, what it was asking of me to apply to my life, or to figure out how I can apply it to my life. What he says is something along the lines of, and he's speaking to the Republicans who brought this bill forward, I know that we are going to win. That all these bills that are coming forward, they're temporary. That over a period of time, we will win. That love will prevail. That justice and equality will prevail. That this is just a setback. But we will continue to move forward, and we will get to a place where the world operates inclusively, lovingly, justly, mercifully, where we are willing to accept one another as we are. That's what I want. That's exactly the world that I am hoping for. It is exactly the world that I pray for. It is exactly the world that I speak about. It is exactly the world that I hope I am working towards, though I know I'm not always successful. I know it's coming. The question for me, the question that Representative Mackey forces me to ask myself is, who will I be between here and there? Who will I choose to be? How will I choose to live? How will I choose to act, react, respond? How will I choose to operate? How will I choose to behave between now and that glorious moment when love and equality and inclusion and justice win out? Who will I be during the in-between times? Will I be somebody who is bitter? Somebody who is spiteful? Will I be somebody who is angry? Will I be somebody who is vindictive? Will I be somebody who is a protectionist? Will I be somebody who is hateful? Or will I be somebody who is loving? Will I be somebody who is empathetic? Will I be someone who is hopeful? Will I be someone who, despite the fact that the pendulum swings from one side to the other and back again, will I be someone who is able to be purpose-driven, steady, on task? Will I be carried to and fro by those waves of change? Or will I be firm in my convictions and in my desires and in my work? Jesus, he talks about the end times. His disciples are big on that. The Pharisees are big on that. The people around him, they all want to know, when is the end coming? Christians today, we all want to know when the end is coming. And he very clearly says, don't worry about when. Yeah, there's going to be earthquakes, there's going to be wars, there's going to be strife, there's going to be conflict, there's going to be fires and volcanoes. I don't think he ever mentions volcanoes or tornadoes or hurricanes, but he does mention a whole lot of natural catastrophe and human-made misery. He talks about the temple being torn down, that no two bricks will ever remain touching. But he says, don't worry about when it's going to happen. Don't worry about all that. Worry about who you are. Are you ready for that moment? Are you living a life where you are ready for the moment when you encounter the divine? Are you living your life in such a way that when God calls you home, that you will be able to say, this is who I am, and thank you for it? Will you be living the kind of life where you don't have to hide your head in shame, where you can keep your face to the sun? Who are we going to be between now and then? Who are we going to be in that time between now and then? Between now and the time that we are as societies living lovingly, justly, inclusive lives, when we are willing to accept everyone for who they are. This is our focus, isn't it? There's going to be ups and downs. The pendulum is going to swing for us, and it was going to swing against us. We are going to see great victories, and we are going to taste bitter defeats. But one day we will get there. One day, that is a surety. That is as sure as the sun is going to come up in the morning, we will get there. The question is, who will we be in the meantime? May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. And I pray that we will choose to be people of love, people of purpose, people of justice, people of inclusion, people of equality. That we will keep the fires of hope burning brightly for the whole world to see, for people to gravitate to. I pray that we will never lose our faith that change is coming, that glorious day is coming, so that we will all continue in our loving ways to work for that world. Amen. Demultus.